What's going on, everybody? I hope you all are having a fantastic evening. Guess what time it is? It's time for Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 67 on this lovely September 21st. We've got a lot of things to cover tonight, so make sure you share this out there. We're back on the YouTube, the greatest platform in the whole entire world. I say that begrudgingly and probably not telling the truth. So I'm going to tell you what we're talking about this week. We got a little bit to talk about in terms of the V word card in New York City, Black Lives Matter, it's a whole situation. We're going to talk about it. I know Suny posted about it. She also posted about Gabby Petito, and we are going to be talking about that briefly, very briefly, and just kind of the reaction of our country over this one situation, although very sad. We're going to talk about that. We're talking about the booster shot approval get turned down by the FDA for their emergency use. The border has escalated, and they're not doing the V word to them, which is interesting. People are getting upset when we are telling people to do their own research. That's a whole different fun topic. And then maybe talking about Project Veritas as well, what they dropped last night, what we thought about it, and our opinions. We've got Easy E, we've got Casey, we've got the GOAT, Suny the middle child, and Kevin the kid. We're going to get started. Please start sharing this out there. Hit the hearts, hit the thumbs up, hit all that you can. And let's go ahead and get the party started. What do you say? Pay no attention to me. I'm just a big dumb animal. Don't know why I wanted to do two different countdowns. All right, our numbers are just starting to go up. We've got our other hosts. They're sitting right next to me in the virtual world. We'll bring them up in just a second. Again, I'm not seeing enough thumbs up and hearts and all that good stuff, so please put that on there. If you'd like to support what we do, all you got to do is become a Patreon. And I'll have Suny bring this up too. Apparently, if you are a conservative host, you are 100% deemed a grifter if you are trying to sell any services whatsoever. So I apologize in advance. I also think that's absolute bullshit. All right, let's go ahead and bring up our other hosts. Ladies and gents, we've got the crew. We've got Suny, Kevin, Casey, and Easy. Once they do, Suny's flexing. Before we get started, we have to wish a happy birthday to Suny herself. And she's doing the dabs. That's part of the celebration.
I did some for her last night.
You what did you do for her? That sounded awkward. What?
Yeah.
What?
Huh?
Suny, did you do anything fun for your birthday?
I did. My husband gave me the day off from like wifely duties, which was amazing. I tried to wash clothes and do dishes, and he was like, "Nah, bro, chill." So I just chilled all day. I didn't do anything for the first time in a long time. And then they surprised me with dinner at Red Lobster, which is right by the ocean. I got a lot of cool surprises. I got this awesome card. It made me laugh so hard, I was crying.
I'm going to bring that up.
I was crying. Who does this?
Community standards. It goes against community. Yeah, hold on. We can't get kicked off again.
No, it was a good day. I got my favorite things are candles in the world. I love candles. And then I got money to go get my sneakers because I'm a really big sneakerhead and I haven't gotten sneakers in so long. So when we're done with this, I'm done. I'm going to go shopping, go sit down and have some lunch, and I'm chilling, man.
For what people don't understand, if you're new to the show, Suny is based out of Japan. So that's why it's lunchtime there.
Yes, she's our international correspondent.
Is anybody else wondering what wifely duties are in her household? I'm curious.
What are they? Well, we have 3 children. You know, I have to go in their room and make sure the room is clean. I have to vacuum. I need to wash clothes. I need to do dishes. I have to sweep the floors. It's not what you think it is. I don't get a break from that because I don't want to break from that. I'm good.
Oh.
Well,
Gotcha.
Respectable.
per our
Respect.
friends on IG, Johnny and them, you just sit on the couch and collect welfare. So
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Yep, it's
Right.
accurate.
No,
Um,
I just had a chill
so-
day. Where I
So
didn't do anything.
did your husband take up those duties, or did you just say let the kids run wild? Who cares at this point?
Well, they're not home for most of the day, so it was like a pause, and the house looked like it looked when they left and when they came home, and they were kind of like, "What'd you do today?" That's literally what they asked me. Mom, what'd you do today? And I was like, chilled. You got like, what's wrong? And then my son's like, you have iced tea there. And I was like, and? Like, dang, can I leave something sitting down? It was fun though.
It's great. The kid that you got people wishing you obviously happy birthday all over.
Thank
in
you
the,
guys. I
comment
appreciate
box.
it.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for that. Appreciate it. All right, so as you can see, also we're all sporting some gear right now. We've got the crew. Well, again, Suny lives in Japan. It takes a long
I'll
time
be
to
getting
get
my stuff soon.
to her. So for you that watch, if you see on the website, when you go to the website I'm about to put in the comment box, there is a 15% off option. But that just, it says, what is it, awake or something along those lines. But for you guys, since you watch the show, if you do wake up, you get 20% off. So I'm going to put that in right now. Let's see. So that with Casey is actually sporting one of the Suny line shirts. So go ahead and show that one. And then we'll get done with quote unquote grifting.
Suny specials.
Suny specials. She's got a couple shirts on there, including Mata. Copying, pasting, and there it is in the comment box. So you've got the Be the Change shirts. You've got a whole wide range of stuff, and it is on the Shopify page. The one that has gotten some interesting reactions. You want to wear something at a hotel lobby where people are going to say, "What in God's name are you wearing?" Or "Woo, my man!" That's where it is right there. So I've got the Unveed Lives Matter shirt. We got Be the Change, Fight Against Tyranny, and a whole bunch of different shirts as well. I know a lot of people have sent me pictures. When you actually get them, please send a picture to the Be the Change page. Much appreciated. So I'm looking at numbers right now, guys. I'm super confused. So we have gained 3,000 followers in the last week, in the last 7 days, which is great. But unfortunately, for some odd reason, they're not liking the show in terms of how many people are viewing. I wonder if it's because we split over to YouTube as well. So do me a huge favor. You guys know the topics on this show. You guys know how we handle this. It's very open-minded conversation. Hit the share button, hit the likes. Let's trip the algorithm. Continue to comment in the side, and let's make sure we get up to our usual numbers because it's a little low. I'm not disappointed, but I'm disappointed. So, all right. What's that? Did you say facts, Suny?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So we've got a few people on our panel that are saying, you know what? It's time to drop some LBs. So a lot of people, and we'll talk about this at the end of the show again, a lot of people have asked us with Be the Change and with Awake Not Woke and all that stuff, what are you guys actually doing to help? You're spreading truth. Yeah, sure. I disagree with your truth. But what I looked at was how can we be of service? And I have a couple people that I coach. And two of them we work on weight loss. And I said, you know what? If I want to help this pandemic from a scientific perspective, the number one comorbidity is
Being
Obesity.
big.
obesity. Not being like Suny because she's very thin. Kevin as well. Kevin's very beefy. He's also 27. It doesn't count. So I'm gonna go. Granted, I was a little chubby when I was 27. So there is a group that I've set up.
Gotta look hot, man.
You gotta look hot. I've set this group up, so go ahead and check it out in the side, and I'll show it at the very end of the show once we get there. But if you guys want to be a part of it, there is a link in it that you need to fill out, and it is it's a closed group, but it's going to be open. It's all about accountability. The whole page is titled "Be the Change: Accountability and Health Accountability. Change the world around you by changing yourself." So this is where we are going to have. There's not going to be a certified health coach. It's going to be a bunch of people holding each other accountable. There is some basics in the rules. I asked you to read the rules, which are you got to add water, you got to start moving your body, etc. Just basic things, nothing that is like, all right, you got to go keto and all these different things. We share different ideas on how to start losing weight. Casey's going to do it. Easy's going to do it. And I've got about 15 I got to drop. So I'm going to do it as well. What's that?
Me and Casey are lucky. We're close by, so we're gonna be buddies on this one. But yeah, everybody who wants to get healthy, this is gonna be kind of the way we hold each other accountable. I'm excited for it.
And I have on there, there's nothing wrong with keto. I have on there that you have to answer questions. Apparently I said it though, so that if you are invited to the group by a friend, you don't have to. So if you click on that link, I think you should have to answer questions. Either way, if not, it's just the basics. Are you committed? And what are you trying to do? All that good stuff. All right, let's talk politics, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a lot of topics to cover. Actually, I want to do introductions real quick because Kevin's got a little story he wants to share. So let's start with Chatty Kevin.
So today on campus, for those of you who are unaware, I'm a member of my campus's Turning Point USA chapter. I was the president. I'm now the vice president. And today on campus, we had what ended up being the result of a university president who has condemned free speech on our campus. So some kid came up to our booth today, our little table today. We had a free speech wall going, and he pushed it over and shouted, "That's free speech." And then he left, he ran away, went walking around the plaza today. And about an hour later, he came back. One of our members tried to shake his hand, and he slapped it away and started begging for me to punch him in the face. Very just going absolutely nutty. I felt bad because the kid was clearly having a mental breakdown. And the problem is that those are the kind of people that are going to be inflamed when you have a university president that is coming out and actively saying things like words are violence. Hey, we are sorry that people say mean words to you. We're sorry that we have to uphold the First Amendment. This is going to be the natural case when the university president says that the very phrase "sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me" is not true. So now students are equating words with violence, thereby justifying their own violence and putting my chapter at danger. And today we saw some of that. This kid, like I said, crazy eyes, did not know if he was actually trying to get me to attack him so he could pull a knife or something. It just, it was just a really bad situation. And it is a direct result of the rhetoric that our university administration is putting out because of their absolute lack of a spine. And so it's something that's going on around a lot of college campuses, and I just wanted to relay that to you guys today.
Love it. Easy, Casey, any intro stuff you want to say hello about?
Nothing specific. I was going to plug the merch one more time, but I don't want to grift too hard tonight. So go ahead, everybody check out a little bit of Awake Not Woke. Check out the Suny line. Get yourself some gear. If you don't want to make a statement, let our clothing speak for you. I think it's a good opportunity. That's kind of all I got for introduction tonight.
Sounds good. Case?
Just hate our government. I just hate our government. They
too early for the 2022s coming up?
Oh no. That's still coming.
Suny, we know it's your birthday. We heard about that. You've been doing some posting online, and we'll go ahead and start the show with you. And do you want to talk Gabby Petito first, or the New York vaccine card, or V-word card BLM situation? Because you posted about both.
America's got 99 problems, and Gabby Petito ain't one.
Ugh.
Oh, well, that was brutal. Okay.
Terrible for laughing.
It's the truth, man.
So
you laughed because it was hilarious. Everybody laughed. My husband started crying when I said it. I'm like,
I was cringing because I was like, there's a lot of people that are about to get really cringed at that. I loved it.
It's all right. Listen,
I loved it.
Listen, it's sad, but it's not synonymous to her. This happens to thousands of girls every day in our country, and they don't get this type of attention. For me, it's a distraction, a big distraction. So I participated in it, but it's more so to tell the truth about what happened. And let's not sensationalize and romanticize things that we don't have all the facts on, period.
And they're updating it every hour. We lost 15 viewers after you said that, Suny, which is funny, which is fine. But in all reality, I think it's an incredibly sad case, but this is like what we talk about with media. Why is this such a big story? Why are we getting updates every 12 minutes about this? It does not. It's and there was an MSNBC reporter, which I typically would never agree with, but she referred to it, and she's getting eaten alive by Fox, saying that it was like the kidnapped white woman syndrome.
It is.
And I didn't want to agree, but I'm like, no matter how sad this is, there is hundreds per month murders in Chicago. The media doesn't care. There is drive-by shootings that kill innocent children. The media doesn't care. There's kidnappings in bad cities that are more drug-related. Nobody cares. So why is it that this becomes a national spotlight while you've got the border, you've got Afghanistan still going on, you've got the V stuff? It's weird to me. Anybody else?
I think we're reading a little too much into it. You never know which case it's going to be, but America's always got some case going on that it's absolutely enthralled with. If it's not Scott Peterson, if it's not OJ, if it's not some case, there's always some major case that's going on. Unfortunately, it is usually white, your suburban white women. But this one got latched onto. Yeah, it's a distraction. Yeah, it's a tragic case. But the people that were super interested and brought it to fame is entirely different subgroup than most other times. This was like people from YouTube casters were the one that saw the van. It was solved because it had she was found because somebody saw it on TikTok. And so it's like, the thing is that there's always some kind of big criminal case going on that people latch onto at a point, because like this is a part of what America loves to do. That why do you think half the TV shows are cop dramas, murder mysteries, everything like that? America loves crime stories. And so if YouTuber gets murdered on her cross-country journey with her boyfriend, of course that one's going to pick up steam.
Let me jump in real quick. Total side topic. We are freezing on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, that's why people are dropping off.
Yeah, a lot of people are commenting, and I pulled it up, and like right now, my left screen is frozen, but it's not happening on YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube is running fine.
Weird.
Can we relaunch on Facebook?
No. Once you're up, you're up.
Right.
That's crazy. Are we freezing on any of your guys' computer screens?
Pull it up.
If we're not freezing up here, then it's YouTube choosing to do it, interestingly enough. Some people said they're having, I think mine hasn't froze yet. So that just means we know, we grew a little bit the last week and Facebook wanted to say F you. So
if you're in the live and it's freezing, click out of the live and come back. That usually will update your current live on your side. So if you're seeing pauses, jump out real quick and then jump back in. You should see
hashtag we're doing something right. I did forget to say this earlier. If you would like to listen on a podcast later, so you can't catch the whole thing, just go to hashtag BetheChange.com/podcast. You can listen to it. It's up about 2 days after the show, and the news is still pertinent. Okay. All right.
Can I jump on this Gabby Petito thing real quick?
Yeah.
So I think there's two interesting points that people don't associate. She's a social media try hard. And so the community that's there is going to blow this story up. And so I don't know that the news coverage isn't so specifically rooted in that issue alone. But I think it is interesting. This stuff is happening every day. They said, I believe there was 17 Native American missing girls who have gone missing in the exact same area as they retrieved the body of presumed Gabby Petito right at this point. And so I want to point that out because it speaks to the broader issue of these things happen all of the time. Why is the media spending at least 20 minutes of every segment of every hour of every show focused on this one individual? Listen, it's very sad. It's a terrible thing, but it's not.
It's great ratings.
There's got to be a reason for this. I guess
it's great ratings. All they care about is ratings. It's great.
Suny,
This I don't know. I'm a 20 steps ahead kind of person. Number one, how can the FBI find January 6th participants quicker than they can find her damn boyfriend? Well, he lives off the grid. He can do this. He can do that. So that's like a red flag for me. On top of that, she fits the narrative, the media's narrative. It is what it is. She's going to bring ratings. She's pretty. She's blonde haired. She's blue eyed. She has the background story. She was a YouTuber, like you all said. It's ratings on top of motives. They're going to pass some sort of bill in her name, and they're going to track the shit out of us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
I think
always.
that could be
Smart.
Yeah.
He's dead,
right
man.
there.
That boy killed himself.
Can I pose a question to you, Suny? This is just a point of inquiry. Do you think this has anything to do potentially with these tiebacks to withdrawals from bank accounts?
Of course. That's what I'm saying. Just
That's a good point.
Everybody's not a thinker like me, but I'm always going to bring it to your attention and say, hey, look at this. Here's a plausible scenario. Now, like you said, I'm not going to waste much more time on it. If you want to get more into details about this, I have been working with other Instagrammers to tell the truth. And I saw Mr. Brent Rossman, who always has some fugazi shit to say. We're talking about it because people aren't as a forward a thinker as we might be here. Mm. And they're stuck on the fact that it's a girl missing, domestic violence. That's a small portion of what's going on here. And they're going to push stuff with that too. It's number one, it's another attack on men. I've been watching this for 3 days straight religiously. I have watched every single quote unquote expert come out and be brutally wrong on these things. So
you should try to live in Utah. Like literally.
Yeah, you're there. I feel bad for you.
It's shoved down your throat here.
Yeah.
We are unfortunately a national disgrace right now.
Yeah, we have continued to give it more story time, but I think we're not talking about the story. We're talking about why, and I think that needs to be looked at. All right, so Suny, another one that I saw you post about, and I found it incredibly interesting because I follow Hawk Newsom as much as I disagree with the BLM leader of New York. Like 1 out of 7 of his posts, I'm like, I resonate. This one has to be making the Democrat left side go absolutely insane. So for those of you that don't know the story, 3 African-American Black women were told they have to show a V-word card at a restaurant in New York. Those 3 women assaulted the crap out of the hostess. And then the police assaulted the crap out of, well, that they didn't assault. They arrested forcibly because what they did to the hostess was apparently worse. So they did this, and then BLM was going absolutely berserk. But now BLM is protesting the V mandate at restaurants. So now Democrats have to go, whose virtue signal is greater right now?
Ooh, they're playing that game like, oh my gosh.
Good. Listen, I am glad. We spoke about this
to watch.
Probably months ago, and I'm like, when is BLM going to come out, and when are Democrats going to get slapped in the face with this? Because it disproportionately, I'm going to use your words, it disproportionately affects Black people because we are the most un-V-worded people in the U.S. So good for BLM. I will support things like this because you're actually fighting against the machine. Good for them.
I can't support the girls though. Like they beat the crap out of a hostess. Like you speak with your dollars and you say, fine, we're not eating here. You don't slap the crap out of a $12 an hour worker working the front of a place. Like
it was like, so it's because I'm Black. Oh, so you want a passport because I'm Black? Yo, they felt Jim Crow come to the side of their face, and you see white.
2.0.
No. Russo, where were you in 2020? They always use physical force.
I know. I'm saying it's just
I gotta check out this picture. Yo, look at all these white people, man. I died. Good Lord.
This is such a paradox for the Democrats, where it's like
it's wonderful.
Are you sharing it, Suny?
There it is. Checking them out. Black power.
Oh my God.
So I have to tell you, you're going to love this. So last week at the protest, there was a point when they were trying to get people to share their stories, and they started looking around. We need a Black person. We need a BIPOC. Are any BIPOCs around that would like to share their story? And then they turned to Jade, who is actually my social media manager for the chapter. And they look at her. She goes, "Oh no, I'm conservative."
They're like, "You uncle, whatever." Casey, what were you gonna say?
They looked at her so disgusted.
Just that picture, 70-80% of them are white.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Right.
But hey, this is what it takes to stand up. And I can never stand. I can stand against mandates. I can't stand against idiots beating the crap out of an innocent person. So again, it's like my vote is to support none of them because I think this is the epitome of the degradation of our society where it's like we have to decide, do we virtue signal to the black girls that beat somebody up, or do we virtue signal to the V mandate that is up? Like there is no winner here.
Do you need help? Let me help you out.
Help me.
Just like I don't like Nicki Minaj twerking and showing how big her ass is. I do like that she told the truth. I don't like that they were violent, but I do like that they called Democrats and all these politicians out on their shit.
Yeah. Criticize people when they deserve it. Praise them when they deserve it.
Sidebar, what the hell happened to Nicki Minaj? She's gone the last 5 days off of every social media.
Weird.
She hasn't posted. I know she can't post on Twitter. Supposedly she can still post on Instagram. She did the last post she did was "Don't threaten my family," showing the screenshots of the person being like, "I know you know this person. Don't make me expose this, that, and the other." That's the last we heard.
She doxed the reporter.
True,
Good.
She did. Yeah. She did. That one. Actually, somebody messaged me that, and I was like, Nikki, why'd you have to go and do that? You're getting threatened. You've got all the power in the world. Doing that is the pettiest shit on the. Oh, she's got a Telegram now. Good to know. All right, I'll follow her on Telegram. But again, I think the doxing thing was kind of a dumb move, personally. We good? We done talking about that? The Democrat. There's a great meme going around that I can't share just because it's
Okay, well, I have one more funny thing.
We can't share
that
you
guys
one?
might be interested.
I mean, we can. Do you want to bring?
It's edgy.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a good. I put it in the comment box. Where is it? I'll flash.
It might be what I'm talking about.
Is it the purple hair? Purple hair?
Oh, no. No, this is completely different. This is going to go into the border situation.
That's a great time.
I'll go ahead and bring this up real quick. All right, before we go, we'll do border next, but this is the picture. It says, Democrats when 3 black women beat up a hostess after asking for their V-word papers.
Purple hair.
Okay. You get the vein popping out. The vein popping out of the forehead is classic.
They deserve it. They deserve it so hard.
They got to get trolled a little bit.
They deserve it so hard.
Yeah, I like that this was. I heard that in the very beginning, and that was dispelled by like 8 million people. And I just inflated that number. Anyways, what do you got to show soon, and then we'll go into the border situation and talk about that.
Okay, well, this ties into the border, so I'm going to show the picture, and then I'm going to show one of my. Well, we've just collaborated on different things on IG, but he's an actor.
I love Gully
out in LA.
My favorite troll. All right,
Gully's
something special. Do we know who Gully is? Like,
he's a troll.
Don't engage as a troll.
No, I know Gully's there on every episode.
Gully Bull.
So,
thanks for the view.
Thanks for the view. Thanks for the numbers.
What do you guys think about this?
Let's see what you got. Yeah. Why is he dressed? God. Why is the border agent dressed like a cowboy? I was so confused when I saw these images. I'm like, did they like dress them up for the purposes of
no?
Well, they're border agents, and
they
operate as. Of course, they're gonna look like cowboys. They're in Texas.
Yeah, they operate on a lot of ranch land. There's a lot of them who are like they kind of do a little bit of both, and it's in that kind of terrain, that kind of area. Horseback is absolutely the best way to get around, especially following. So it makes 100% sense that they would have people out there on horseback. Plus, it's badass as fucking hell. Like we got real life like marshals back there. Let's go.
No, hang on. Out of anyone on this panel, Russo should not be questioning why is an officer dressed like a cop, like a cowboy. Because what's a Texas Ranger?
They just wear the hat. The rest of it is still a like Texas Ranger gear. Like this is not. I've driven all over Texas. I have never seen a police officer, enforcer of any kind dressed like the Sea Boys, and I don't even know what I can say anymore. The Cowboys and Indians, like the movie or like book, whatever it's called.
Well,
it seems weird.
This was posted by Sean Stockman from Boys and Men, and they're like, "Look, they're still doing us black people this way." Mind you, Democrats turned away the Haitians at the border, and they're deporting them. They won't allow just independent people to come in and offer their services. They're turning them away. Don't know if you guys heard that. They're turning these people away and saying, go give your donations to a church. Don't worry about this. But I thought it was funny because I'm like, He's grabbing his shirt. He's not even holding the whip. The whip is for the horse, and it's not even a whip. And I'm gonna play Jason Wesley. He's actually a big horse rider, and he completely destroyed this whole narrative. I thought it was hilarious. Thank you for coming out and doing this.
We're getting there, people. We're getting there. That's the whole point. We're getting there. I still think the outfit's ridiculous, but that's a different story.
Simmer down now.
I bet some people love that.
Gosh, simmer down.
Look, man, I'm not about the boot, but if the boot's dressed like a cowboy, I'm a little bit more receptive.
Check this out.
Ooh, he's good looking.
Okay, those of you guys who don't ride, you're not cowboys, and you've seen a picture of this Border Patrol agent apparently going around whipping Haitian migrants, and they're trying to make it look like he's like an overseer of slaves. That is not the truth. Okay, so here's the.
What happened, Suny?
It's multiple videos.
So there's
Multiple clips.
reins, right? These reins, they go continuous, and whenever you tack your horse up, a lot of times people who are maybe less experienced, they use that kind of rein, and then you have this thing called split reins, right? It's where the reins are split. They're not continuous. And a lot of times you can use that for whatever you want to get your horse moving. You can use the split reins to be able to help do that. So a lot of times they cross over. When you lunge a horse, you would use something like this. It's not a whip. Okay. And you have people talking about these Border Patrol agents. They're just trying to make them like Texas white men when over 70% of Border Patrol agents are Hispanic. So before you start,
they're more
You're
They're not
muted.
even white.
So I have a question.
If
If somebody
like how you said that.
if somebody tells you that they're doing the whip, can you say nay nay?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, Anthony.
That is like the worst dad joke ever.
Oh my
Russo, you're a
God.
cowboy now. Why didn't you call that out?
That hurts.
I honestly, I haven't even
That
seen the
hurts.
picture. I saw the pictures of what they were wearing. I didn't see any of the. I heard about the quote unquote whips. I didn't even know till Suny shared that. Now I know what split reins look like. That was a really long split rein, so I was kind of like maybe. But now the explanation, great. It's still absolutely ridiculous because it's not just about that's going on at the border. Is it okay to segue, or do we still want to talk about the Jim Crow 7.0 that was going on over there? Suny?
I want to talk about the sexy man that was
That was
just
a
talking.
segue. They're,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's
All
just
right.
calling the Democrats out, and they're going about it all the wrong way. They're like, "Look, this is racism." It's really not, man. It's not.
No. And aren't they on the other side? They're on the Mexican side of the border, which means they're actually, I don't know, whatever. I'm not even going to get into it because I don't know. But let's talk about what really is going on at the border, which is thousands of South Americans and Haitians coming in per day. And continuously, Jen Psaki at Toomey is answering questions about what's going on. They think they're figuring it out. They started flying people back today, supposedly, which I don't know how many planes they could possibly. Why? And we're spending all this money. Won't even get into that. My question is, yes, Kevin, go ahead.
Apparently, they got 15,000 people out of Afghanistan in like 2 days, so they probably get them all out.
It's true. Maybe they're using the military aircraft. We all know that's bullshit. So they are. They're literally saying the reason why they're not V-wording these people, because people are like, if it's such a health crisis and we've got tens of thousands of people coming in, why are you mandating it for other people and professionals and Americans, but not for the people that are infiltrating the country illegally? Psaki's answer, they're just coming here temporarily. This is not they're not staying here for an extended period of time. That's why it's not important. I'm going to let everybody talk about this, but does she, because they're doing catch and release still. They're getting some people sent back home. But they're not getting everybody because there's tens of thousands of people. They're like the underneath the bridge in Texas is the biggest humanitarian crisis I've seen in one area in a long time. When a storm came through the other day, it looked like the end of the world. These people are not here on vacation. If you let them go, they are not planning on saying like, all right, I'm here for 2 weeks and then I'm going to check in with my family and then I'm going to go ahead and take a first-class flight home. Like, you can't get more blatant or stupid than this. Am I wrong?
No.
No.
There's nothing more permanent than a government program, by the temporary government program.
So one of the things that is blatant to me is, where's Kamala? She made a statement, I believe today or yesterday, and it was kind of alluded to, well, we have to get to the root of the issue. I'm sorry, but when we have bridges in our country being developed into third world countries, and let's call it what it is. These people are coming from Haiti, and they are living at the same standard of living, and they're just choosing an underpass right now that is convenient, where basically Border Patrol has an opportunity, I guess, if you will, to kind of keep them in an isolated area. But one of the things I saw today is, as we're hearing that these people are being deported in large numbers, the story gets twisted, because we're also relocating a lot of these people to different places all over the country. And specifically what I saw today was they had a large number of people who were being transported to other military bases, similarly to what we've done when we've had huge rushes on the border in the past. So to speak to the issue of what is going on here, it's amazing to me. They are literally allowing people to come in and set up shop, and they're just living the same standard of living that they just walked away from. And it's degradation to the worst degree, in my opinion.
Anybody else?
It's just pathetic. We can't trust our government to do anything right.
No, absolutely not, man. It's again, these are the consequences of the rhetorics that the left pushes at this point. Like, just as what happened on my campus is a natural consequence of that. And when you start promulgating this, what the left pushes in regards to like border policy and immigration policy and all of that, of course, everyone is going to come flooding to your border. Everyone is. This is a consequence of your policy. And all it's doing is here's the thing, is that even if conservatives don't win elections right now, and even if conservatives policy doesn't really, go into place now, it eventually will, because Democrat policies are so toxic that they reveal how bad they are pretty quickly. Just like we're seeing on the border crisis, we're seeing it in schools. It's just incompetence. It's like incompetence everywhere, like the alien guy. Like,
yeah.
I have one more observation. This is eerily familiar to me in one sense, is that they're vilifying the Border Patrol, and they're trying to make it a race issue. And this theme of nooses and whips, and we've seen it with Jesse Smollett. We've seen it with the NASCAR driver.
The guy with the noose on the door.
Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace. So this to me is eerily reminiscent of a manufactured issue. I'm not going to say that there's not a bad picture here. I don't know. I'm not going to interpret the intentions of a law enforcement officer in the line of duty. That is not for me to do unless I'm sitting on a jury. But this ideology that we're being rushed on the border, and that people who are tasked with protecting the border are now viewed as some type of villain. It is eerily reminiscent to me to two other instances that we've had that have become humongous and large stories that have been debunked in a relative quick fashion. But that didn't take any of the relative feelings from the communities away either. And so I just kind of want to point that out, because I do see that kind of tie there. It's an interesting thing to me.
I got to address the troll, because it's an interesting question, and I think it needs to be answered, because there is he's against the let's burn down the Statue of Liberty. It says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse your teeming shore. So I get it. And honestly, if it was a utopian, perfect world, I would love to bring in all of the masses. Unfortunately, we're a nation also of laws, which is why we have a really crappy immigration policy on how to get people in this country. If we did what you are asking to be done, it's a virtual impossibility for us to maintain who we are as an American nation. There is flaws in our immigration. That should be what Biden should have done first if he thought this was so horrible, is work on that policy. Instead, it's still ridiculously difficult. The paperwork process is insane. The vetting process is misguided. But if we were to let in everybody, you would see a much different America that I don't think anybody would like. So there is that point still, but within reason. Go ahead, Kevin.
It's just even simpler than that. We've lost the privilege of having open borders, right? We had open borders up until about 1930s. And then what happened? Well, we instituted social welfare programs. As soon as you start instituting social welfare programs, you lose your privilege of an open border. Because when you have social welfare programs available to immigrants and illegal immigrants, such as healthcare, such as schools, such as everything else, and you make it so that having a child here gives citizenship, which should not be the case, by the way, not like birthright citizen, like that in and of itself is something that should be discussed as well. But when you start having social welfare programs that are open to illegal immigrants, you can no longer have open borders. Open borders exist when you have an actual competition between countries on a semi-level playing field for labor. It works in the European Union because most of those countries are at about a similar economic level, and labor has free competition. You know what the European Union doesn't have? It doesn't have a minimum wage. It doesn't have it doesn't really have payroll. Doesn't have any form of payroll taxing. It has nothing that we have that makes it so we can't have open borders.
Go ahead, Suny. What's up? Oh, you just got excited. You're muted, but you got excited about something else. So yeah, I agree. And that made me think of, you were talking about open borders. Gully said something else. Oh, we can I don't think anybody is innocent on in previous administrations. 100%. I think that this has been a problem that's been needing to be fixed for a long time. I have a friend that was a Bernie bro that I know we disagree in politics. We don't exchange too much anymore, but I remember, which one's socialist? It's Norway or Sweden. I think it's Sweden, right? Sweden.
I mean, most of the Scandinavian countries have a blend of socialism, but none of them identify as socialist.
Sweden's the closest, I believe. Anyways, he went out there, and their policy on healthcare and all these different things is, he's like, this is what America should do. He went out there, realized that it's a very homogenous country, and also realized Sweden?
You should see what's happening to their demographics because of the immigration crisis.
Interesting. I didn't know. Yeah. So this was a conversation a year ago, but what I remember is what he was saying is the reason why some of their programs work better than, at least this was before COVID, was that if you were an outsider, you couldn't start a business there. You couldn't do different things. So they kept everything very homogenous. So I guess things are changing because, again, woke culture is not just a thing in the United States of America. Woke culture has infiltrated the world.
Sweden is a great example, by the way, because Sweden is very homogenous. And what happened is, during the Syrian refugee crisis, they took a lot in. They took a lot of refugees into their country, and it was reflected in crime statistics. When you look at rape crimes, when you look at grooming and all this other stuff that was going on there, they had entire blocks and cities in Sweden that they had to shut off that Swedes couldn't go in because it was a refugee block, and Swedes kept getting attacked. That's what happens when you had Sweden is going to legitimately have very difficult times in the next 50 years because of their how they handled that situation.
Interesting. All right, let's are we good on this? Suny, what was the facial reaction for? We got to know why you got so excited. Suny has officially taken a nap. Unmute.
Nap. I'm reading.
I know you are. I'm kidding. You got super excited. What happened?
Because I was watching the stopgap bill, and the House passed the stopgap bill to prevent the government from shutting down by asking for trillions more.
The House passed it?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Jeez.
Well, we knew it would happen. The Senate's the only one that would do anything.
The Senate's blocking it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to default, and there is no ceiling now.
And then we're going to shut down. Just look, hyperinflation, and we can move off of that. I was just like,
no, it's interesting.
Really?
That's very terrible.
And if anybody paid attention to the stock market the last 2 days, or last 3 days, I think we all know what's happening, which is today was supposed to be the bounce and there was no bounce. So we are entering very interesting chart territory on a lot of different levels. And as we say, everybody's like, the stock market's great under Biden. I said the same thing under Trump. It has nothing to do with the president until 2 years into the presidency. And that's a hypothetical number. It could be a year and a half, could be 4 years. It really depends.
Bullshit. It has nothing to do with the president at all.
In general, it doesn't. Trump had some interesting ways of using the media to prop things. That was more for options traders.
He also had an opportunity to pass bills and change things. He was able to cut taxes and do stuff like that, which made people feel more engaged to go out and spend money. Now, what we're doing is we're just giving out more money and making the dollar worth less. And so everybody start stocking up and preparing, because 2008 times 2 might be coming.
Yep. Yeah, the Fed will be doing an update tomorrow. As Anthony kind of pointed out, we had a little bit of a conversation earlier today, specifically about the market. Be aware, tomorrow could be an interesting day. I pointed out some
now I'm freaking terrified.
Different analysis that I've seen, and just be aware. I'm
scared.
Kevin, you're broke either way. Who cares? It doesn't matter.
You're a college student. True. It doesn't matter.
Yes, this is very true. If anything happens, I'll just walk and take one of the 50,000 jobs that's available in my town.
Gully, if Biden's economy is still this way, which we'll call it Kamala's economy because we know that that's where it's going to be in 3.5 years, I will give credit to where credit is due, because I do think the executive branch does have something to do with the economy. But
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How many Americans are unemployed?
Ooh, right now, this month?
Less than there are open jobs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Less than open jobs. Yeah.
If people were working, then we would give credit for Biden and his economic plans. But people are at home collecting checks, which means our economy is not being stimulated because we're not spending.
Right.
Well, I'm not even a Wall Street person, and I know this.
It's common sense.
Well, look at what happens.
Think for yourself.
So this is just your typical storyline of how you get dependent on the government. And for all the Trumper people that say I'm pro-Trump, like, here's where it starts. Trump issued the first government check, and it started going out. And we started issuing out more. And we started issuing out more. And then Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion package for COVID relief. And now we send out a check every month. And I guarantee you in December, we will be extending that and sending out more money to people every month, because people have become dependent on the government, just like if you were on welfare.
The thing is,
this is all because of the inflation has forced that money to be needed, and we're not being smart with our money. We are overspending.
The neoliberal modern monetary theory relies on some level of competence, and it's not present. No. And it's I'm terrified. I'm scared, guys. I'm gonna have to go live in the woods for a while.
So let me flip this, because it's also a good promo for what we got going on this weekend. If you haven't watched Barb Allen, one of our good friends from American Snippets, she was on Brad Lee's show, dropping bombs this last week. She killed it, talking about the Great American Conference. It's coming up in January, and Bradley had this interesting point when she brought up the fact that people are losing their jobs and they don't know what to do. So Brad is tough. He's a little bit rough around the edges in this sense. And he's like, well, that's a victim mentality. Like there's a lot of people that, you gotta take the L and move on to another job. I don't think that's as easy as he makes it sound, but I love the way that he said it, because in the sense of, he motivated Barb. Part of this conference is actually going to be, I think she's going to be finding employers around the country, at least getting a list of all the different companies that, and I'll help her out with it because we at BetheChange are actually helping with that conference. List of companies that don't care about your status no matter what the mandate is. So that's going to be awesome. And in terms of motivation, I forgot to say this in the beginning of the show, coming up this weekend, we have got the Get Up and Keep Moving. If you guys know Jeff Markinette Jr., Terrence Leffridge, Brenda is also, if you see in the top 3 pictures, she's phenomenal. All 3, we've done these conferences. This is like our 6th or 7th one. Each speaker's talking for 10 minutes. I'll be speaking at the beginning of the show as well. And it's all about get up and keep moving. We've seen what's happened the last year, and we have to find a way to find our groove again. So again, set your reminders. It's already been posted on the BetheChange YouTube and Facebook page. So hit the get reminder button, and hopefully we'll see you there on 3 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. So again, reminder on that. I want to make sure I throw that out there. Let's go into the booster shot did not get approval. I love talking about this because I've spent 4 out of the 8 hours. I watched half so far of the FDA hearing, which is like watching useless drivel, and also hearing a bunch of different sides. What I will say is to people, and this also goes along with the whole philosophy of stop doing your own research. People saying stop doing your own research, which was a quote taken out of context. Whole different story. So I don't know if you guys saw the video that I made, but you guys are going to find this interesting. If I was a business and somebody brought to me so say I'm the business of the FDA. We know it's a business. So say I'm a business and somebody is bringing to me why I should buy their product, wholesale their product, sell their product. And they bring a sample size that makes 0 sense in order for approval. People have to and the fact that they thought they were going to get approval is mind-boggling. So for those of you that don't know or haven't seen any of the other videos, the actual test that they brought forth from their own research, which was done internally, by the way. Actually, let's scrap that. They used Israel's research. So Israel's data of the third dose, which showed 95% efficacy. Might I remind you, they just started doing the third dose 2 months ago. So there has been no waning efficacy. Our V words showed the same 95% efficacy right after the shot was applied as well. So that was part of their proof. But their main data, wait for it, their main data was a sample size for safety and efficacy of between 300 and 350 people total. 12 of them were over the age of 65. So that means that if any diverse reactions happen, based on the numbers that even the people like us that are saying we need to look at this, 300 is not a big enough sample size unless you are ridiculously lucky. The numbers are more of the one out of 4,000, 1 out of 5,000, completely random, still trying to find those. And they did a sample of 300 thinking that they would get approval. And last thing I'll say, and then I'll open it up to you guys, is that what they were doing right now is a sample size of 10,000 people, for the purposes of efficacy. That is the test that they are running, again, internally, might I add. Out of those 10,000, guess what one of the requirements was in order to be a part of the trial? Anybody? Oh, by the way, that other trial with 300 people only was 2.6 months. But out of those 10,000, what do you guys think was one of the requirements on the efficacy trial? Anybody? Kevin, I know you know.
Be V'd.
No. The other V'd. Easy.
I know what it was. You had to have been in good health.
To be in good health.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Healthy BMI. You have to have healthy blood work. It literally was this was a test about healthy people who probably have relatively healthy immune systems to begin with. And I believe that was the single highest requirement to participate in the study, if I remember. In terms of checklists.
Just think if our country said the same thing to its American people, saying, you know what, in order for you to be tested in terms of our studies, you have to be healthy, whether you're V'd or unV'd. That's mind-boggling manipulation. Whether you're a doctor, a scientist, or a PE teacher up the street, if you can't see how that's manipulated data, I don't know how to help you.
That doesn't pass muster on a research level. If I was doing one of my many research papers, actually going through what the data says, which is what I have to do for my thing, even though I'm not allowed to do research, right? My whole thing is doing research. Yeah. When you're going through it, you look at how the experiments are run. You look for things like transparency. You look for things like they're taking in, they have plenty of controls. They're listing out the various controls that they have, their variables, everything, every little bit of data, everything that they can get their hands on. And they're also listing the kinds of stuff they can't do so that other people can perform experiments following the research. when you're telling me they're using sample sizes of 350, when they're setting requirements that would immediately eliminate the two biggest comorbidities to test for efficacy in a prescription, let's say, that is designed for those people, you would want to know if it's actually good for them. This is just, and yet the people on the left that are going to call us a conspiracy theorist are never going to take the time to even look for these kinds of traits within a research paper. They're never going to take the time to actually ask themselves, wait a second, is this good? Because you know what? COVID Jesus is speaking to them through CNN.
And I'll I don't know if Suny wants to talk on this one, but I want to just run some numbers real quick to show you guys. So if you divide 330 million Americans by even 10,000, which is their internal, not tested, this is paid for science, that would be 1 out of 30. If somebody came down with something or had an issue, that's 33,000 is how you divide that. So that means if they found a diverse reaction, it would be 1 in 33,000, which
that's
they're
a way
saying,
to manipulate data.
It's so manipulation, because if what they're saying is 7 out of a million is the numbers that they're pulling from wherever, that means you wouldn't even be hitting that 33,000. So you wouldn't even have any diverse reactions. Granted, I mean, it's so insane.
Can we ask the obvious question?
Yeah.
Are they just including only the U.S. athletes, like NBA players and NFL players? Because I don't know how they're going to get to 10,000.
But there's a lot of people that are willing to do the trials, and they're willing to be followed.
That are healthy?
That are healthy. True. That's a good point. Technically, my BMI, I think my BMI would just have been in range because I looked at barely. I'm 15 pounds heavier than I should. It's insane.
It says I'm overweight.
It's mind-boggling that they're choosing to do this in this way, and people don't see it. And now they're also trying to push it on the 5 to 11-year-olds. And there was a lot of doctors, specialists, microbiologists that came as a part of the hour 4 and on, talking about their issues. There were people that wanted it to be approved, but they go, how can we approve it if we still don't have any true safety data? The one guy was like, I'm in the ER and we have a lot of hesitant people, and he said, I want to be able to tell people it's safe. But he goes, the people that are most hesitant are the people that have done the most research. And he goes, it's not bad research. He goes, it's people looking at raw numbers. And he goes, I want to be able to prove it to people. And we have not done that yet. The other issue, and the last piece of data I'll share, is all the people that they were testing before, they pulled the control group after, I believe, 4 or 5 months. So you have no control after when the efficacy begins to wane. I am not a doctor. I am not a scientist, but I will look at data and I will look at other people speaking out that are on that side and listen to what they have to say. And it makes no sense. It doesn't make sense.
Nope. It's rampant data manipulation, and it's rampant.
I will say this is it most health studies, whether it's a drug that's coming on the market or a vaccine, they do require healthy people. Now, in this instance, it is absurd to me that it was the top requirement. Now,
you have control groups. You have healthy and unhealthy.
Well, yeah, and if we're going to look particularly at an age group or a health group, you need to have people who fall into those categories in order to get honest results. And so, I think that's the qualm with this entire study across the board. So I just wanted to kind of.
Can I ask? Do they also have 10,000 unhealthy people, or do they only have 10,000 healthy people? Because if it's just a control group, if it's a control group, you want 10,000 healthy and 10,000 unhealthy because you're going to compare the two.
No, they're the whole group. So there's a control group inside that 10,000. So that's how they're running it.
You can't do a control for the healthy among the healthy. No, what?
No. Well, just remember, the only result that matters in this is money in the vaccine makers' pockets.
That's
the only
trust the science.
No wonder, Pete, the highest indicator if someone's going to question this stuff is if they have a PhD. No wonder.
Yeah. So the other question becomes, and I think this plays along with the comment, the thing that's being shared now. It went a little bit viral.
Kelly.
What's that? What I missed?
She said it's a placebo. So within the control group, they're going to have a placebo group, but they should have one of their controls should be healthy versus unhealthy.
control doesn't necessarily mean control is not defined by placebo. Control is defined by various factors, including placebo. Anyways, so there was a post that went viral. Will something or other from some TV show. I never can remember it when I go to say it. He shared something, and I found this interesting. And it was a whole reason why to stop doing your own research. Stop saying you could do your own research. He accredited a doctor in Florida, a psychologist with whom I have reached out to and had conversations with. And he goes, this is why you don't do your own research. Essentially, you're not smart enough just because somebody said it on the news, just because First off, my reply to the person that posted it is, I actually do what you're asking, which is I go to peer-reviewed articles. I look at who wrote them. I've done this on the CDC specifically, who wrote them, who they work for, who they're funded by, all of them are funded by, and then I look at raw data. So this to me is where the left has given up, or not even the left, the pro-V mandate people have given up on being able to prove us wrong. So now they're saying you're too stupid to do your own research, even though we're blatantly bringing it up. What do you guys think of this comment? And then I'll tell the backstory of once I spoke to the woman.
Yeah. So if do you guys know who James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian are? And Helen Pluckrose. So they set out with the goal to prove that academia is broken. Research papers are broken. They did so by submitting dozens upon dozens upon dozens of fake research articles to the various research papers with the intent of getting these things peer reviewed and published as fake articles. And they proved through this. They got stuff like where they took Mein Kampf and changed it into a feminist anti-men thing, and it got published and got awards. They did something about they made up stuff about dogs in parks. So people don't understand, especially the people saying trust the research and other stuff. No, you shouldn't be right now because academia is broken. It's broken. There's a huge problem with it, and it's kind of getting ridiculous.
Anybody else on this one? Casey?
My big thing is when you tell people to not do research, it's kind of ignorant. Just allow people to do what they feel is necessary. So let people do the research, and if they don't want to, they don't want to. That's their problem, though, because I don't want you to come on here on this panel and try to tell us that, oh, racism exists, but you know nothing about it, type of thing, like we've had a few times. And so research is important, and so make sure you always do your research, and also vet where it's coming from. That's the big part. Other than that, I don't really care what people say. That's just the standard of what everybody should be doing.
Yeah.
My concern in this is when you start telling people to stop researching, what you're really saying is trust all of the information I give you. Don't question it. And when you do, we're going to pummel you with all sorts of outrageous social cast policies. So my concern is that we've not recognized the free speech issue maybe quick enough, and we've gotten into the policing of thought now. So you're not allowed to research because you could misinterpret it and be, now you're a detriment to society. So I just want to make that point clear is where I'm concerned is more in the social ramification of life. Mm-hmm. People are not allowed to think for themselves anymore. And then consult proper, counsel to wrap up and give them a clear picture of what's going on.
Was it Brave New World or 1984 where they had that? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was
Fahrenheit 451. I forget. But yeah, that was basically the whole tenet.
Kind of all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a combination. Yeah. So the interesting thing about this post, so the whole philosophy, it's stop doing your own research if you're just listening to somebody on the news. Because I had to ask this person, I go, if you want me to stop doing my research, then where are you getting your information from? And I think people are under the belief that the whole medical community, all scientists, all specialists believe that the same thing about the V word. They believe that it is, and fact is it's not. So what's interesting is by doing my own research on this post, I found out some interesting things about the woman that wrote it. First off, I went to her page and I started looking because it was shared by people, but it was a quote by a psychologist out of Florida. So I followed her stuff and I looked and she didn't reshare it. I don't see it anywhere on her page. I found that very odd. So I sent a few messages, finally got a hold of her. She's a holistic physician. She is a big believer in natural health and psychology and the spirit world. And I'm like, this does not sound like somebody that tells you to not do your own research. So I said, did you say this? She finally said, I did say this. I said it 2 years ago and it went viral because a friend of mine shared it. The reason she said it, she was actually talking about Q and the whole like baby blood and the reptiles and all these different things. And honestly, I agree with her because the issue is when you say that, it's very different. When you say, look at all these crazy things happen and do your research, I can tell you there is no research that you are going to come to a conclusion on that shows that it's the truth. The difference is math is one thing. Data is another thing that's up for interpretation. Like people are saying, science is questioning everything. The whole purpose of science is to find an intelligent hypothesis on an answer, plain and simple. So there is a huge difference between reptilian people that are in the middle of the world and raw data that anybody that can do statistics can extrapolate their own reason on. And I'm sorry to those people that say stop doing your own research if you're too stupid to understand how to do your own research. That's on you, not on me. Plain and simple.
You don't trust your government, Anthony?
You can't do that on air. All right. So, all right. So let's see anything else. Oh, let's have a mandate discussion. So the executive branch called a mandate. And this was another thing on Bradley's show today. And I looked up the definition of the executive branch mandate. They're technically not allowed to, and I said it's against the Constitution. The mandate is only for people that can only be enforced for those that work inside the executive branch.
Whom they've exempted.
No, which they have exempted, but they're also trying to use OSHA to enforce it on anyone that's OSHA compliant.
Yeah, so if I can make a point on this, all of the labor unions, and this includes OSHA, they will be private entities essentially who come in and enforce this as a safety protocol. So, if you've ever worked in any sort of labor industry, specifically like construction or anything like that, OSHA comes in and if you're not wearing your hard hat, you get a violation. If you're not wearing a steel-toed boot, there's a violation, right? And this is the order in which they're looking to enforce this is through the labor unions. And ultimately, that will fall into the hands of all private companies having to mandate some sort of requirement for employment. And so when we talk about mandates, I think it's important to distinguish the difference between a federal mandate and a labor mandate. And that's where they've opened the door to private industry telling you how you have to live your life inside and outside of the walls of the workplace.
Well, and I was calling into Liberty Council's conference on, I want to say this was yesterday, or I can't remember when. One of the examples, one of the people that called in and asked for help, she turned in her resignation at an employer because she found a new job that she wanted to do. She got the job offer, filled out all the paperwork for the job, and she had to apply because she did not want a vaccine. She had to apply for a religious exemption. And when it got closer to the date of her being hired, they denied her religious exemption and denied her employment after giving a job offer and all paperwork was signed. So now she's already turned in her resignation at her old employer and is denied a job at her new employer because of her religious beliefs were being denied. This is getting nuts.
Where I think people wish we had remedy is in the courts, and we don't have institutional faith right now that the courts are going to uphold personal and individual freedoms over private entities and business at this point. And I think that is the qualm we find ourselves in almost on a daily basis right now.
Yeah. And then you've got, people are looking for religious mandates. And I just got to throw in, because I am not a fan of mega church behavior in any way, shape, or form. Robert Jeffries out of Dallas, big Trumper. He came out today, and you can see it all in the news, saying that he will not stand behind the Christian response that there is a religious exemption in the Bible to doing it. So he apparently doesn't have the back of the people, which we can understand why somebody that's got $100 million church and business is not backing the individual.
Can't lose that tax exemption.
But yeah, exactly.
My body is a temple.
It's fucked up.
It's really and no, there is no executive order. Like I still can't find it.
It's going to have to. We have to hope and pray that the conservative court, quote unquote, does its freaking job, because this kind of overreach within the government is absolutely mind-boggling.
There's no overreach. They're using the media and words, and it's people are freaking out and using it. They're brainwashed.
Yeah, but the thing is,
a holy pulpit moment. Yeah, people are confused. They think this is something that has come either from a federal mandate or from some sort of government position of authority. This is Biden said so. The media picked up the story and said Biden said so, and labor unions are adopting it. This is not, as far as I understand, a mandate.
I heard there's a bunch of unions that are abjectly against this shit. But I also know that the thing is that the threat is that if someone isn't vaccinated for it, they are required, they get a $14,000 fine.
You can't enforce that fine if there's no true. It
is an unenforceable executive order.
Who gets the money from that fine? Can anybody tell me?
OSHA as a private business is not allowed to go around and dictate what other businesses are able to do and issue fines. Fines are a governmental act. If OSHA is the one that's fining people for $14,000, there's a little line in Roe v. Wade that says the government does not have a right to know your medical history and your medical processes. All right. So at that point, government, what the
I want to still know.
Abortion, or are you going to make me be vaccinated? If you can make me get vaccinated, you're going to have to get rid of the other thing. So it's inherent super contradictions within all this stuff that makes it unenforceable, and it's going to be mind-boggling. They might bring about their own destruction of Roe v. Wade if the conservative court wants to do it.
Does anybody else want to know what Suny's thinking? Her facial reactions.
He's listening to me talk about the abortion part of things.
We're not getting into that, by the way.
No, we're not. But I'm just saying. It's that
Suny,
I don't know. I'm just confused as to why we think conservative parts of government are going to do anything different. That they've been doing nothing this entire time. They don't give a fuck about the Constitution. They don't care about anything we're sitting here talking about. So it's pointless.
Agreed.
Rand Paul for president, because he's going to save us all.
And unions are a big issue because they have the power to stand up. The postal workers union stood up, but here's the problem: who has always backed the unions? The Democratic Party. And if they go against their party, they're gonna the upper brass is gonna stand down. And again, like Suny said, though, it doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. When it comes to unions, it does matter. And if Democrats are the ones spearheading all these mandates and bills, it's gonna be a little bit of trouble. We're gonna wrap on the Project Veritas story. Does anybody? I know you guys watched it. Who wants to go on this one and lead it? Casey?
I'll go if no one wants to go. So I love the video. It's a little bit like we talked pre-show. It is a little bit of a teaser and could have had more information in it. But I love what's exposed. There's some things like I'm not going to call out one of the things that I found out I shared pre-show because I don't want that information out there. There was a mess up in the video that shouldn't have been shared. But I do love that it was capturing real conversations with nurses and pharmacists and other people in the medical industry sharing that they don't like what's being enforced, but they're still doing it. So the part that this is really exposing is we are all just giving in and just obeying the rules because we don't want to go against the system. If everybody was to turn and unite, the system has nothing to stand on. Nope. Nothing. Project Veritas exposed that a pharmacist could not prescribe the H pill, the H thing, the I thing, or anything without. And if they were to, they would lose their job. And even if a doctor wrote the prescription and handed it to the pharmacist was instructed they cannot issue it. In
multiple states.
It's ridiculous. That is the doctor's job to make that decision, not the pharmacist.
So question about these therapeutics is people are like, why would you use something off label, blah, 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 blah. Well, technically everybody is putting their faith and belief in a mRNA thing that is being tested. We have no safety numbers over a long period of time, and yet they're going, you're dumb for taking the eye thing, even though it's got decades of experience in humans of safety, whether it works or not. We could say that it doesn't work, but if a doctor wants to, based on the biological response, if he wants to prescribe it off label and he's not allowed to, yet we are okay with pumping test things into our body like remdesivir, which there's a whole different discussion on that, and pumping this V thing that, I mean, it's mind-boggling that people don't. You don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to be a scientist. You just have to go, why are the people that you have faith in some and not the others? If they want to do something, why are we not allowing it?
It's
so
ridiculous.
Does anybody remember when fibromyalgia was being discussed as a medical condition?
Fibromyalgia?
Yeah.
Yep. So there was a medication that was prescribed for about 10 years called Lyrica. And it was an antidepressant. I think everybody can remember the little commercials of like little dots floating around, and all of a sudden they're happy from sad. That was Lyrica. Now, that drug is now exclusively used, almost exclusively, I should say, for fibromyalgia, which is an off-label prescription specific, now approved treatment for therapy. Most people in their lifetime have had an off-label prescription for some type of issue that they have presented to a primary care physician. So I just want to point that out because it is such an interesting thing that there is a seeming ban of testing of good medicine. I'm baffled by it. It's confusing, and it is not standard practice for a doctor to look for alternative options, knowing how specific pharmacology interacts with itself.
And what Gina said is, by the way, super accurate, because Lyrica is absolute garbage. And it's funny that we're allowing that to be prescribed off label. Something that's showing these massive, horrific side effects long and still being used. But we can't, something that has
Accutane's another one.
Unreal.
Pretty
Okay,
go ahead. Keep going, guys.
Yep.
You're muted, Case.
I'll take my horse pace. That's okay. But when it comes to all of this, just remember, like, there some people in this industry, some companies, all they care is about their wallet. If they cure anything, you're no longer a customer.
Yeah,
they do care about their wallet, but when they have no liability, then their wallet's not in danger. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Which is interesting. This has been a leftist mentality for so long, and now they've dropped it completely. Where it's like, I can't, whatever. And I've always been this way. I've always been this way, to be very clear. And last thing I'll say about the Project V. Hopefully, the other things get better. You guys can also still add in on this. Somebody shared something that was completely unrelated and it made no sense, but it was a very interesting article. When you look at this, people are saying, why aren't more doctors speaking up? Why aren't more doctors doing this? Why, if that's the case, then why isn't like the woman on there? Why aren't there more? Well, she explained it, that they know that they could lose their jobs. Here's a doctor in Oregon that was suspended in December. His name is Arthur Litulipi, MD, family doctor. He practiced in Dallas, Oregon. He specialized in pain and addiction medicine. He also treated patients with the vid, interestingly enough. And he lost his license. It was temporarily revoked because he refused to wear one of these things that cover your face while treating patients. He also did not require his patients to do it. If you look at the news, that's what it's all about. Doctor that didn't have his patients wear this, he didn't wear it, loses his license. So interestingly enough, he spoke out. I read the 25-page document from the Oregon Medical Board, and if people actually look at the article, the one of the big things they dinged him for was they thought that he misprescribed opiates for 8 patients. This is his job to provide pain medication, and they said that he overprescribed medication. You know what? I would love to see the records of similar doctors and how much it's overprescribed. So 8 patients that they found going through all of his files they thought were questionable amounts. And then they talked about the VISC. It's very vague. It was his messaging, the fact that he was proclaiming it. So it's partially the 8 people and partially the fact that he said, you don't have to wear one of these. What's interesting is what he was, and also the way that he greeted his patients. if they were, he instructed his front desk reception people, if they were smiling, said that they felt good, they did not need to be wearing a one of these over your face. And then on top of it, he actually said, but he was encouraging whenever anybody was sick to keep their social distance, isolate, stay away from their family, all the things that are actually medically proven to be important. He was doing all of these things. He just did not believe in the science behind this, which there is even one line in this that talked about the efficacy of the things that cover your face, saying they help with droplets, all these things. Now, in terms of airborne illness, the airborne virus, it is in question on the efficacy. It even says that in the paper that 3 days ago decided to fully revoke his license. This is why doctors don't speak out, because they've dug up everything in his past that could be potentially questionable about how he dealt with every single patient, writes a 25-page document, and now he can't, because he stood up to the science and said, based on my research, this is how I feel, and now he's no longer a doctor. This is why doctors don't speak up.
Yeah, we're in some sad space, guys, but I will say this. I will say this is that, even if you're not seeing it in the public sector, there are you go to your primary care physician and speak with them about your personal medical decisions. That is the best way to deter what is seemingly a one size fits all solution. And I would encourage you to do it. It will empower you with facts about your personal health, and it will allow you to make decisions that ultimately empower you to go, speak in public, to tell people that these are my decisions to make for my personal health. And I think we've got to start really pushing back on some of these things and being specific and saying, look, I have consulted with the team that takes care of me. I have made my decision. This is what it is.
Plain and simple. And also, when you go into the doctor's office and you want to ask that question, be very clear with them. Like, please speak freely and honestly. And I would even honestly, in this day and age, with what's going on with Project V and all this, put your phone on the thing, say, I'm not recording. I want you to know what is best for my health, period. You have to do that at this point in all reality. And some doctors are still very pro-V. You could ask them why. Why is it important for me? And if you get the answer that tells you, do it. Do what you feel feels right.
I'm being tested for antibodies in about 2 weeks because my doctor absolutely believes in real science. And so, go have hard conversations. It will empower you and give you the tools you need.
Plain and simple. Suny, do you have any other topics? As we covered a decent amount today. I think we're about to wrap. We've got a few other things just on the way out. Do you got anything else you want to talk about? Are you doing a show tonight? Anything fun? Oh, no, it's your birthday. That's right.
I'm about to go blast Brandon Tatum. That's what I'm about to go do.
Oh, no. Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because conservatives are being hypocritical, man. Joy Reid came out and said this is the white woman syndrome, and they're like, oh, nobody gives a crap about her race. If nobody gave a crap about her race, then why are only white women plastered all over the fucking TV when they go missing? You guys were saying the same thing when
Gabby
George
Petito.
Floyd was killed. Yeah.
Are you talking about the live you did a little bit earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anytime there's a black man on a TV screen, what is he up there for?
Getting shot by the police.
Exactly. So
shooting baskets.
Thank you.
No?
That too.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, we all speak out and we're like, why do you only show black people? Why can't we see the white people that are killed by cops? And people are pretty much asking the same thing. Why can't we see the minorities, whoever else is killed? Why are you constantly showcasing white people? And he's like, this is crazy. Nobody gives a shit. I'm like, if they didn't give a shit, they wouldn't constantly showcase one race. Hello.
I had to take a step back with Joy Reid. I'm like, at first I was like, this mother, and then I listened and I'm like, she's got a point. She really does have a point.
I don't understand. Man, I hate people that are in love. Let me not even say that. I do not like when people are in love with their own opinions. You have to play to your crowd, bro, but tell the freaking truth. We all wonder why it's only white people. And that doesn't mean you're throwing a race card. It means, bro, why you always showing white people? Bro, why you always showing black people getting killed by cops? It's a valid question.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who Elizabeth Smart is?
Yep. She's the girl who got kidnapped in Utah. What color
The
is
other
she?
Utah story.
Natalie Holloway.
Ooh.
She brought her, like all the. I mean, it's
Lacey Peterson.
It's because like white people are like, there's a lot of middle class white people that pay attention when something like this happens to a middle class white person, and when a black person is killed by the police, it plays really well in ratings in black neighborhoods.
Thank
That's just how
you.
it goes. Like,
But to not call that out and
it's like it's just so obvious.
push a narrative, bro. Like, stop
think
trying to play to your freaking crowd and tell the truth, Brandon.
But MSNBC did their job for one time. One time.
Hey.
Can we address? We Casey got excited. I got a little excited when we saw somebody. Yeah, listen, they've shut the border down between Canada and the United States. Yeah, they've reelected Trudeau. What's that?
Not if you're V'd, you can go to Canada.
They did reelect a guy who does not know how much times he's worn blackface. That is true.
Sorry.
Which is hilarious.
That ain't even blackface, man. He dressed up as an Indian.
I'll just point out this: is that you can go to Canada if you have a V, and you can have interstate commerce.
Vagina?
No,
sure,
virginity.
Virginity.
Oh, I can still go
the
to
southern
Canada.
border is totally the opposite right now. And people, I mean, the stark contrast between the North and the South right now is completely apparent and on. I mean, it's in your face.
Are you about to say the South is about to rise?
No, sir.
Again?
No, sir. No, I do think it is interesting. There's a lot going on in Canada.
Man,
they've had health ministers appear in court that can't provide information. There's a lot of pushback from people in the Canadian provinces, and they are not being heard, and they are not being aired on television, and they are not getting the press or media attention that a neighbor, sharing the same continent as should be receiving right now.
Do you know why?
Listen,
Go ahead, Suny.
I said fuck Canada. I was about to say something else. Give a shit about Canada.
So the reason why Canada's in that situation is we're doing the same thing here in the States. Most of the population makes the decision in Canada. Where is most of the population in Canada? In the eastern portion of the country. And that is the most liberal portion of the country. Like Toronto, you have Quebec, and you have everything in, what is it?
They speak French in that part of Canada. Yeah, that's how much it sucks.
Don't remind me. I spent 2 weeks in that part of Canada, and it drove me nuts. But yeah, Canada. So if you look at it, where most of the population is, they're going to make the decision, and that's what you're seeing in the major cities and what happened in California with the recall election. You had all of the population in San Francisco and LA made the decision of the recall election. That's how Trudeau got reelected. Is you have these major populous cities really making the decisions.
What's this article, Soons?
Oh, it just goes in to prove that these vaccines are BS because a very highly vaccinated prison has crazy outbreak case of the Delta variant. So that means you should just let your immune system do what it does because the vaccines don't work.
I'm going to really quick do a disclaimer. The V words work incredibly well. We suggest everybody goes out there and gets it. Do whatever you can to protect yourself and others. That would be my suggestion and disclaimer. And everybody knows how I really feel. Okay.
And this show just turned into satire.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are now the B 2.0.
Hey, listen, Moderna put out a presser. So if they want to flag this for whatever reason, Moderna put out a presser letting everybody know that people that are newly vaccinated, what do you say? I don't have a filter. Okay, jab, V'd.
Fauci ouched.
Newly people that were V'd have more protection than people that were V'd a year ago, which once again proves all of us right.
Natural immunity is always better.
Yup.
But what do we know? We're not allowed to do any,
what is his name?
What does he look like?
Fauci. I don't know how durable your natural immunity is. I wanted to go through the screen so bad when I was listening to him talk.
You'd be like, bitch, there's a test for that.
That's my other question.
It's the Church of Faucius Christ.
We've got trillions of dollars being spent on COVID, which isn't really true. But I mean, because they've disseminated up billions of dollars being spent. Why don't we have an antibody test given to people? if they actually cared, we could literally go, you don't have any antibodies. You need to either isolate. If you really want to mandate the V, do this. You could literally, by antibody testing, separate people, let people know that they're at risk, and you would end it. Done. Game over. But no,
but they can't. That's too easy. Let's not do that.
It's too. They don't make enough money off it. It costs them money, and they don't make any money. That's the problem.
Bingo.
Unless you know what, they might start doing that. They're going to have some kind of ties to the company that creates the antibody testing. Once you see somebody in big pharma invest in an antibody testing company the right way and the right person connected to the right Pelosi, you know what I mean? At that point, then we will be able to know that all of a sudden the antibodies. I can't wait. If that happens, I cannot wait to trace the money trail on that. Cannot wait.
Cannabis will be legalized before that.
Probably. That's all I really got.
Yeah.
For those of you that care about Cash, which I know most of you do, his court case is on the 24th. He's got a hearing for the case. I don't know many details. There's actually a radio show that reached out that wants to interview him once that's over and done with or whatever. Hopefully we'll get on and tell kind of the story behind it. But yeah, we'll know there. And then if he wins that, he'll go to his full-time prison for the other charges. So we'll keep you up to date. Again, Patreons, you guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask about Cash on there. I cannot answer all the questions over here. And we'll end with COVID and then final words. But as you guys know, I started doing something. We have gotten a lot of messages. If you're watching and you've sent a message, I'm over 10 right now. We've been linked in other posts. I did not.
We are going through those. Yeah. Keep sending them, guys, because we are getting to them a little slower than I guess we wish, but we are getting to them. We are trying to compile data as much as we can.
And Casey is going to have is going to set up a form so that it's private. You can enter it, and it'll be private just for us internally, so we can reach out. For those of you that didn't see the video that we put up and what I'm talking about, we are going to be trying to do a Project Veritas type style thing, maybe even work with them, because we realize the numbers don't make sense. So here's what it is, and send us a message and we'll reach back out with the form and all that stuff. If you have had the V and had a diverse reaction, send us the information, and it's within a couple months. And the key is that we can provide receipts. So if it's you, friend, very close friend, family member that will give their name and we'll keep it internally until we share, etc. That, or this is the big one. If you've had the V or a family member has had the V and they were hospitalized or died, obviously, if you've passed away from the vid, and you won't be able to do that. But if you have a family member that's willing to speak out and say, this is not foolproof, this is not going to protect you permanently, please send a direct message to the BetheChange Facebook page. That would be great. That's all I got. Last thing before final words. Make sure you check out the merchandise. If you could check it out, we've got the BetheChange shirts. We're all rocking it besides Suny, who lives in Japan. The hat. This is. I'm going to start calling this.
It's on its way. It just takes a really long time. Maybe a boat's going to end up crooked in a canal. Sorry.
Yeah.
We should do. I need to create a video that's like grifting time, because that's
let's grift.
What do you say, Suny?
I was just going to say hold the line, because you got that ridiculous shirt on there.
I do,
because about evergreen.
It's not Q can't steal that from me. Right now I'm holding the line. I will not give up. But yeah, if you guys want, just go to that. It's in the comment box. And wake up is the code for 20% off. I haven't talked to Chelly in a couple days. We should
Chelly's great. I just talked to Chelly the other day. She called me for my birthday.
Let's do a grifter shirt. Let's make a grifter shirt. Promo code Johnny or Mitch.
That'll be funny. Yo, that would get so much traction on IG. You don't even understand how many people would go buy that just because the promo code is Mitch or Johnny.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. I was just gonna say, are you doing anything on IG tonight?
I am. I'm going to talk about Lauren Cho, who pretty much disappeared the exact same way Miss Gabby Petito did. And she's not even black. For people that are going to be like, you're playing the race card. You
listened to Crime Junkies, didn't you?
No.
Suny's making her debut into true crime, and she's really going to dig it out.
It's crazy because Crime Junkies talked about Lauren Cho as well.
They did? I didn't even know. I did a quick Google search of missing women, and she popped right up. So
dope. Then it's working.
Yeah.
I'm calling Brandon Tatum out on this shit, man. That's whack.
If you want the Tupperware madam, somebody was asking, that's Barbara. Barbara is also, she's part of the Health Accountability Group. I've been working with Barbara. She is legit. She's awesome. There's a great post. I see that 20 people have joined since we started the show, so I'm going to share that one more time, and then Suny will have you go with what you've got coming up. But I'm going to share this Facebook group in here. This is, for those of you just tuning in, we decided that we are going to do something that's fighting the number one issue in comorbidity, which we're going to have a Health Accountability Group. We're going to There's a form you fill out in the beginning. You got to go to the Excel document. You got to click on it, and you fill out. Is somebody's vibrator?
Yeah, I was about to say, well, you got some weird shit going on over there. We're about to get off camera. You can wait.
Who's pull the plug? Jeez, I think it's Kevin.
Who's got the weighing in the drawer? Who's got the weighing in the
drawer? So here it is right here. I'll show it what it looks like when you guys get in there. There it is right there. So BetheChange Health Accountability Group. Essentially, we just keep each other accountable. You'll have to enter your information, what your weight is now each week. That's the only requirement. Every week you update it. And that's where it's at. I want to have a bunch of people join in, and Eric's going to be a part of it. Casey's. What is that?
I can tell you who it is. His mic's freaking out like he did to us.
We'll bring him back up in a second. Apparently he needs to keep his mic from his booty hole. All right. There we go. It's better now. So anyways, I know a few people. Yes, please. And let them know. It's really just to compile numbers on that story. But and then again, last thing on that weight loss. If we want to change the world, you got to change yourself. And let's just try to have success, coach each other. I'm not a certified health coach, but I am a performance coach, and I want to do that. So
Ew.
What?
Oh, you guys are getting real uncomfortable in this comment section. That was fucking
What's
gross.
That? Oh, that's funny. There's only one. You know, the interesting. I'm going to bring up one. The other interesting thing about the jab is somebody on Bradley. He got really graphic, and he's like, "In this country, you're not allowed to RAPE somebody. You're not allowed to shove." He goes, "I can't just go F an employee. I can't walk up to somebody working for me and be like, I'm going to F you." And be allowed to. What's the difference? You're still injecting something into your body. I think that's an interesting.
I heard Cuomo got a pass on that. I don't know.
He sounds like an idiot.
I thought it was funny. Not funny. I thought it was accurate. Anyways, all right. Suny, what do you got going on?
I'm going live to talk about this situation. I'm going to be bringing Mo on with me because we've been talking about this for a couple of days. And then probably 30 minutes tops, I'm going shopping. All right.
Oh, girl.
I need a break from this. This is some crazy shit going on. And I'm going to finish my Reese cup. Make America think again.
Kevin, go for it, Big Cat.
So for those of you unaware, if you saw the email or not, I'm going to be coming out with Common Nonsense here shortly. Just a long form interview show. Going to be trying to get, interesting guests on whenever I can. So trying to do something I love, which is just sit and talk one-on-one with people for as long as I can before my humor annoys the hell out of them. So it's going to be a great time. Common Nonsense. It'll be coming out. I'm working with my bud to get the first episode out, but next Wednesday, we're going to be having a guy from the Daily Caller named Joe Bob that I went to high school with, and he is wonderful over there. So that's going to be a great conversation next week as well.
Keep the show down to 20 minutes if you don't want to annoy people, Kevin.
Damn.
10 times that. Oof.
Just kidding. Casey, what's up, brother?
You just asked Kevin not to talk. You really think that's going to be possible?
Did you see him earlier? He killed it. Suny was about to talk, and I saw Kevin go, but the...
Yeah.
Someone is about ready to come through the microphone and slap it. No. Just... be on the lookout, guys. I've been doing a lot of research. I'm going to do more videos on what I'm going through with fighting my wife's work and a lot of the religious exemption stuff. So you might see just random stuff pop up when I do a show just because I've learned something new. I'll be doing that. Just be in touch with BetheChange stuff because you're going to see a lot of activity on our page coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Did you just say ma'am? Yes,
right,
ma'am.
Dude.
Yeah, I did that.
Did you just misgender him?
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
what's your pronoun?
We're open and fluid.
Whatever.
They.
Mine is theirs.
birthday.
That was my cue because I just choked on a Kit Kat after you said that.
I'll shamelessly plug one more time, guys. Awake Not Woke. Let us be your voice. If you don't want to go have hard conversations, our merchandise speaks for you. We have some great patriotic stuff that is just absolutely for everybody. We also have some messaged merchandise that I think makes bold statements about where we are as a movement. So I'll shamelessly plug that one last time. The other stuff is go if you want to take a peek at Suny's birthday. You want to give her a gift, go get some Suny exclusive.
Swag.
Right? We got some MATA. We got the Fight Against Tyranny stuff. So go check out awakenotwoke.myshopify.com. I think the promo code Wake Up is in the comments there. So use that to get a nice discount for 20% off. Look out for Russo. You'll kind of touch on this, I'm sure, but Saturday we've got an event going on. So we want to see as many people participate in that as absolute possible. So keep up with us, guys. We're doing a lot. We're trying to make this work, and we've got a lot coming up.
Exactly what he said.
Listen, I've gotten over 200 requests for Repeal the 19 shirt. Over 200 requests.
Ooh.
You know how
I totally don't want one, Suny.
We gotta create a secret store for that. We'll find a way
put
to
that on the back page.
Oh, you know what? If people reach out, we can find a way. Oh god, that's a lot.
I'll make Suny a deal. We'll do a Repeal the 19 shirt as soon as she will agree to do a Repeal 21 shirt.
What is 21?
Allows for alcohol again.
Ooh.
That's iffy.
I don't give a shit. I'm over 21, so it's just, okay.
No, it puts alcohol back in prohibition.
Yeah, it repealed the 20th because remember, women got the right to vote, got alcohol banned, and we had to bring it back again.
It doesn't mean I want to actually take their rights away. Come on.
It's hard to explain that on a website.
Look.
We're gonna end the show with this. Kevin, no, I didn't mean to do that. Where did it go? Kevin, did you get a second date?
Oh man.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Have you gone on it yet?
Not yet. She's been
so
a
you
little
have
bit
not.
sick.
You've been
She's
asked to
been
be
sick the last week. No, but we're good. Trust me.
That's an excuse, man.
Oh, there's so many jokes I want to throw out right now, but they are not appropriate.
I just don't really want to talk about it on this.
I can't go out.
I don't think he's gonna get the second date. Let's be honest.
Look, I don't want to.
Repeal the 19th, man.
It's not like I haven't seen her since then. I'm gonna get a second one, dude. We almost died on the first one. The second one was inevitable.
Oh, good. I keep going because we are definitely live. Talk about it.
I know we are.
Oh man. Right.
Good for you, Kevin. Good for you, bud.
Good for you.
No shame.
No shame in your game. Fight tyranny. Go on a date with Kevin.
Yeah, we're great. I promise.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Suny the goat. Happy birthday to you.
You guys